All right. So, usual business, we're going to start with the head. Just big circles, keeping the shoulders pulled down. And the other way. Now just lacing the fingers behind the back of the head and just use the weight of them to pull your head forward, relax. Just breathe into it. All right. And let go. Just rolling the shoulders, so nice deep shoulder rolls. And the other way. Just gentle turns to the side, so maintaining the balance along the center of the spine. Warm it up a little bit. Hips, so same thing, little circles. Stretching out as far as it's comfortable, push a little bit further if you want to. Just make sure you're feeling the stretch in every direction. And the other way. Okay, so knees just backwards and forwards, just gentle bend down through the knees. Make sure you're coming over the toes, or in line with the toes rather. And circles. And the other way. And we'll go on the feet. So to start with some ankle rolls. So just lifting one foot off the ground. Just a bit of a circle. So make sure you try to push it in each direction so you're getting a good stretch in the rotation. And the other way. Other foot. And the other way. All right. Feet apart, feet slightly out to the side, just coming into a gentle squat. Little pulses just to warm up the inner thighs. And turning to one side, both feet flat on the floor, and straight back legs, so you're getting a good stretch of the Achilles. And turn around to the other side, same thing there. With your hands, so this is just more of a warming up your hand movement. It's going to come down so you can see what I'm doing. Just bring the hands up, or the arms up beside the ears, so quite close to the head. And all you do with the hands is just open and closing as fast as you can. So this will actually warm them up quite quickly. So you should be starting to feel it in your arms now. Landing up. But that should be getting the blood flowing up there. And relax, shake it out. And just give yourself a minute to work on anything that's a little bit sore, anything that needs a bit extra warming up. And then we'll start with some Tankendo. All right, so I'm just going to check my notes again because I always forget what I've got in my notes. All right, so go intentionally. Just angle the camera down a little bit. So we're just going to start with that basic footwork pattern. So forward, back, right, left, hiraki, hiraki-ashi. So just remember to keep the footwork small. Try and come back to the point you started at after each opposite movement. Try and keep the kenshin steady so it's always staying on point. And try imagining it, you do actually have someone tip to tip with you so that you're trying to maintain that line the entire time. With the hiraki-ashi, just making sure that you're actually coming down low with that arm, so you're not reaching up. You grab the elbow and pull down. So just start off slowly, one step in each direction. So kamai, so ichi, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shichi, hachi. Again, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shichi. Think about which foot's doing all the driving with it as well, so try and make sure that's where it's coming from. Maintain the balance. We'll go a little bit faster. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shichi, hachi. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, ro, shichi, hachi. One more. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, okay. So we'll do that one again, but we're going to do 2 steps in each direction. Again, try and keep them small. Obviously, the less room you've got around you, the easier it is to do that. So, 2 steps in each direction. Ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni. And again, ichi, 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 ichi. A little bit faster. Ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni, ichi, ni. Back to rest. If you've got room, do it at 3 steps. If not, just leave it at 2. So 3 steps each direction. Ichi, ni, san. 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 And again. Ichi, ni, san. 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 Check out the legs. Calves should be fairly warm after that. So raise the camera back up. Okay, so where went? Right. So one thing I did want to work on, we'll be doing this with the mokuju as well when it's time for Jukendo, is just working on the strike, zanshin withdrawal. Normally when we've done as a technique, we've kind of stopped in between each one and reset. But this one, if you've seen the video that Batiste and the Federation put up on YouTube a month ago or so ago, some techniques for practicing or getting back into sort of shiatsu practice. It's a case of you're coming a bit from Toma, imagine you've got a partner. So it's continuous strike. So coming in and making an attack, retreating, make attack, retreat, make an attack, retreat. So you're focusing on keeping your stamina up, keeping your momentum going, so not trying to pause in between, a nice strong zanshin, and a good withdrawal. So you can do it quite slowly, it doesn't have to be fast. So if you imagine you're at Toma, create your target in your mind, wherever it is, or in your room, or if you've got a literal target, even better. So you're coming in a couple of steps, withdraw, and again in. And rest. So that's basically the exercise we're going to be doing. So in your own time, try for 3 to 4 attacks before you reset, just so you're getting the cardio up a little bit, getting the heart rate up a bit, but you're just keeping the body moving. So after 3 or 4, you can stop, breathe, reset, try different attacks. So you can do a harai. If you want to, you can go for nodo do, men if you want to, but it's more about making the attack and retreating. So 3 or 4 strikes, come back to Kamai and reset after. Hey, Kaylin, how you doing? So again, in your own time, 3 or 4 strikes and retreat. Hajime. Do one more and then have a breather. Okay. So I don't know about you, but what I do tend to find is when I make attacks like this, my posture can go quite off if I'm not careful. There's always a tendency to want to go. So remembering to keep your posture aligned, keep your balance centered, especially when you retreat. And, have a bit of a play with this as an exercise, I don't know about you, but what I was finding is after I'm going 1 or 2 and then retreat and then attack, and maybe a small feint or a double strike and then a retreat. So really, your motodachi, because they're in your mind, they can be doing anything. So take time to try different techniques, come off to the side, whatever you need to do. So do that one more time. Try and do another 4 sets. So in each set, you're doing maybe 3 to 4 different strikes with a withdrawal after as many of them as you feel appropriate. So if it's a case of yeah, that's fine. But if you want to go retreat, all we're trying to do is just maintain that zanshin, that attack, that pressure. So remember to breathe, posture, knees bent, don't fall over, and I'll leave you to get this one. All right, so 4 sets each in your own time. Hajime. All right. Grab a drink if you need to. I tend to get quite dry even just doing small ki with something like that. So yeah, that one, hopefully you've got your heart beating a little bit from that one. Body's warmed up a little bit. Yeah, I need to do more of those, to be honest. Yep. And it'll be nice when there's an actual person to do it too. So if you've got, a nice person around the house who's willing to just stand there in armor for you to hit, do that. Otherwise, you are just going to have to imagine or you know, find something in the house that it's okay for you to hit, because it's quite nice to have that target point. So we're going to do a little bit of ouyo. So just start off with the basic ouyo. So you may need to change your angle depending on how much space you've got or the shape of the space you've got. So the idea from this one is that you're in forma, one step in, and then you're going to come off to the side. You can come to the right or the left, whichever one you prefer. So, and it's good to work both. So off to the side, withdraw, come in, off. Sorry, hiraki-ashi. And then pull it back. So try it on both sides if you can. If you've only got room for one side, just work on that. But yeah, same mentality, very, very strong. Good zanshin on both, so hold it there. Don't let it sort of poke. You know, it's not a sharp thing. You're supposed to show off that target before you withdraw. So in your own time, normal chokutotsu, ouyo, stepping off to the side. Hajime. So when you finish this last one, just shake it out. So this time, going for harai. So you don't need to actually step off the line. You should be able to do this in a straight line the whole way. So from toma, one step in. Harai either from the left or the right, or change it up, either is fine. Tsuki, withdraw. Tsuki, or harai, tsuki, nagashi. And just remember, after you've done the nagashi, nice strong withdrawal again. Keeping everything balanced, try not to bounce. All right, so harai, tsuki, ouyo. And that's what I'm going to call it because I don't know the actual name for it. In your own time, hajime. Jimo. Roll it out. Anyone got any questions or issues with that technique at all? That one I think's much more straightforward than doing the basic chokutotsu version. No, all good? All right. So I just want you to imagine a spot on the ground. If you've got something you can whip around, for example, what have I got? I have a small and fragile plant right here. So if I make a mistake, that's not going to be good because it's one of my housemates. I'm going to pop it on the ground. You can just imagine this. You can put a book, you can put a pair of socks, whatever you want around it. I'm looking at footwork here. So I just want to do hiraki-ashi around it. What I want to be aiming for is, again, pushing off on the correct foot, keeping my knees bent the entire time, making sure that I'm not moving too far out, so I'm not stepping out to the side of it. So this is all about small footwork. Realistically, you should be able to get 8 steps. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you just want a small target. So this is basically looking at keeping your footwork small, pushing up correctly from the back leg, or in this case the left leg, going around to the right, and then we'll try it going in the other rotation. So if you have something small, use it. If not, you're going to have to imagine that small cool plant that I'm sacrificing to the gods of Buddha right now. Make sure you've got correct mind, your knees are bent, or soft rather, and just in your own time, work your way around one circuit going anti-clockwise, then one circuit going clockwise. So really think about which leg you're pushing off on. Hajime. Again, trying for 8 to go around. So it should take you 8 to get around that. And then going back the other way. So this one's a bit harder, you're pushing off from the front foot from the right. So it will feel a little bit weirder. Your own time. Have all of our sacrificial plants survived? Yes? Good. All right. So this time, what we're going to do is, this one's a little bit like stepping off one. I'm going to move this further across. Again, we're trying to keep it small. So you're going to stand back maybe a foot and a half length behind your object. And so this case going, step off to the side, retreat. Step off to the side, retreat. So you're still trying to do though that 8 point around. So every time you push off from, say, the left leg, you should be coming around on the angle. Back. So this is just working on that stepping off the line, but still keeping it small and tight. So again, one circuit going anti-clockwise, one circuit going clockwise. You should get 8 strikes each rotation. Well, that's what you're aiming for. So if you only get 6 or 7, that's fine, but you should be able to get 8. Make sure you're not too far back behind it, because then you're going to go for big steps. This is about control and being mindful of your distance. All right, in your own time. Hajime. Good. When you've done it one way, go the other. This one will feel weird. So I don't know about you, that one felt really awkward because we're not used to going around in that direction so much, or stepping off in that direction so much, especially not when something's so tight. You need to be thinking of, even though you are pushing off from here, you're already planning to curvet your attack off to the right. So, and that's what will help you get around a little bit as well. Be prepared for the angle you're coming in on. It took me about half a circle before it actually started making sense. But again, this is just a nice technique, I think, for trying to keep your footwork tight and really working on that coming off the line where you can see the effect and the kind of angle you're after. Because anytime we do that, it's not about a huge step off the line. The idea is just to come off center so that you've actually got that opening or you're protecting yourself. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So that one's a bit awkward, probably because I made it up on the spot. So it needs a little bit of refinement and a bit of practice from us all. But I think the idea is relatively sound. The biggest problem, I think, for Tankendo is that most of us coming from another Buddha, we're used to bigger steps than this. And so we come into Tankendo expecting to have to do really huge steps, and that's not what's required, or it's not what expected. So yeah, just keeping them tight. Let's do a quick ichi kyoushu. with Tanken. Just raise it up a little bit. So I don't mind if you alter the order of it slightly, but I'm going for do, nodo, men, do, men, nodo, kote, haraitsuki. But again, as long as you get those 5 attacks in, I'm not going to worry too much. This is just a good way of making sure I'm definitely separating them out. So, hachume. Again. Third time lucky. And again. One last time for good luck. All right. So you should be feeling a little bit warmer now. What we'll do is grab a drink. We'll switch to, actually no, switch to Kadachi briefly. Once you grab your drink. I'm just going to look at kata number 7. So kata number 7 is one of the irimi seitai. If you are the shikata, which you two will be to start with, which way do you suppress them when you step in?
You suppress to the left, to our left.
Yes. Yes. So 6, 7, and 8, right, left, down, right, left, down. So if you ever played Frogger, you know what order you're supposed to hit all those keys in. This is it for Tanken versus Tanken, right, left, down. Yes, so we're going to start. I'm not going to prompt you, so if we screw it up, we screw it up. That's not a big deal. But I need to stop prompting you guys for all the kata because it doesn't help you remember it necessarily either. All right, so I'll be uchi, you'll be shikata. So coming from Kamai, so 9 steps away. Ich, ni, san. Yep. Good. That did not too bad from what I saw. Anything either of you want to make a comment on? Things that you remember, things that you forgot, things that you have questions about?
No. Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It really wasn't too bad. Main thing is, of course, following uchi to make sure you're starting in the right position, which required me to remember that we're down in here now. So I'm just going to do that one again. Again, I'll hit you with shikata for a second. Ich, ni, san. Good. That looked really nice from both of you. So we're going to switch it up. The two of you will be the uchi. I'll be shikata. I will be going with an amalgam of the timing of the two of you. So if it's a little bit off, that'll be the reason why, but you are going to have to guide this one. Yeah. Good. And once more. Yep. Good. That looked pretty nice. How the two of you feel with that? Any questions on number 7?
Just practice needed.
Yeah. It looked pretty good. Honestly, both the shikata and uchi, I think it's just remembering the small details when we start. Once you know which kamae you're in, I think both of you are generally fine. So yeah, that's pretty nice. All right, mokuju time. Juta, well, not jutaju yet, but jukendo. And again, I need to check my notes because there's no point me writing notes if I don't follow them. Okay. So we're just going to start with normal warm-up, which is nita tsuita. Again, if you've got the angle for it, it's kind of nice to do it side onto your camera so you can see your ski line, making sure it's horizontal. Checking your posture, making sure it's not leaning as you go in. So the body moves forward, but the upper body doesn't. So just make sure you're coming across. Hey, Nico, sorry, you just missed the tongue portion.
Sorry being late.
That's okay. We've just switched to mokuju time mokuju, so you'll have to check the video for the Tankendo side.
No problem, I'll check, thank you.
That's okay. So just going to start with nita tsuita. Keep it a steady pace. So if I'm going too fast or you want to go faster, that's fine. I'm just going to call out each knee just so you've got someone to work against. But each one, make sure obviously the kamae is correct. But really focus on making this as clean as possible for each one. Really put the energy into the strike as well as the pullback. So I'm just going to do a little bit of muting over there. There we go. So just at your own pace, remember to breathe. So check your posture, make sure your kamae is correct, knees are soft, elbow is forward, so it's not straight behind you. So nita tsuita, hajime. Ich, 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 itch, 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 itch. Knee one more. Itch. Good. Roll it out. So rolling version of the exercise, starting off with a big roll. So big roll and forward into a straight. With this one, if you've got the room and you want to, you can do 1, 2, up and back. Otherwise, keep it in position, so don't move it forward and back. Just move your weight as you do nita tsuita, so whichever works for you. So breathe it in, roll, breathe it in, roll, breathe it in, breathe it in. Breathe it in, breathe it in, 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 in. Good. So the more advanced variant, which is really just squeezing the shoulder blades, rolling them around. So it's a much smaller movement. So roll. So it's much more subtle. Again, if you want to, you can move forward with a fume-komi for each one, or just stay in the spot. So roll. 2 more. Okay. Roll out the shoulders, shake out the hands, let it breathe a little bit. So we're going to do the same exercise that we did with the Tankendo earlier, which is basically about continued attacks. So this doesn't have to be fast. Again, this can be completely your own pace. Again, you're imagining you have a motodachi or a target. If you've got a real target, great. But you're going to be making 3 to 4 attacks. Obviously with Mokuju, there's not a lot of variety. It's I stab you, I stab you, I stab you, I stab you. You can throw in a harai if you really want to, but there's not a lot of variety. You've got Nodo, and you literally have sort of door area. You'll know if that's Ura harai, you'll know if it's Chokototsu, no one else will, but in your mind, have that target, have that idea. So you can practice Ura, you can practice harai, you can just go for straight Chokototsu. But I want 3 or 4 attacks. So moving in, moving back and forwards. After the final one, strong withdrawal. So as an example, starting from Toma. So you can do a combination like that. You can just do 4 straight attacks forward, whatever combination you want. It will depend on the room you've got. But yeah, attempt for 3 or 4 attacks. If you don't have a lot of them, you can basically do it while stopping. You don't have to move far. It's more about the energy, it's about the zanshin, it's about the attack. So 3 or 4 in your own time. I'll call Yame when I think we could all do with a break. So, continued attack, Hajime. So reset in between each one, give yourself a chance to breathe. Think about what you're doing with your technique where it's getting messy. Hello. Good. You met? All right. How are we feeling? Okay? Yeah. Good. It is hard with Mokuju. There isn't a lot of space. So just work with what you can, but you can still get a lot of intent. You can still get a lot of good endurance training from it, even if you're not moving far. So just really concentrate on the technique that you're working on. Okay, let's look at the time and look at my notes. So let's just practice. So we're going to take the energy down a notch. So you should be quite warm. your muscles should be a little bit more relaxed, which will help with ura. So obviously this is harder because you don't have a partner, but if you're like me and you're able to point towards the camera, you should be able to say, here's this when you start on target. I want you to think about relaxing with the front hand. So relax that front hand, that wrist to come underneath and then around. You're not trying to make a big circle. It's a little half circle underneath the other mokuju or the kensen. So all I'm doing, little smile underneath them kensen, strike. Little circle, strike. So you're trying to keep it tight. Think about it as spiraling in towards your opponent. So even as you do that little circle, you can be moving your body weight forward so that you're ready to come in. And that'll be pushing you closer to or lower down the mokuju, so that when you do ura, it's a lot harder for them to avoid because you'll keep in contact all the way down. So we're going to do it from both sides. So after each one, you'll come from the other side. So here's from our Nanahonme, we'll come underneath, come back, and then we'll come the other way. Because you can do ura from both sides. So in your own time, ura, ski. So no hurry, just ura ski from both angles. So visualize a spiraling in towards their heart. Two more. Good. Anyone got any questions or issues with ura? No? Okay. So before we go to kata, let's just have a look, because I saw Kaylin having a bit of a practice before. Makiotoshi. Again, it's not a common one. You won't be using it very often, but it is good for practice. It's that same kind of spiral technique. The idea is that they generally come for nodo, at least if you're doing it in the kata. And what you're doing is you're stepping back and extending your arms outwards. So to a degree, if this is where I am when they've come for nodo, so step back a bit, watch where my arms are in relation to the space around me. So I step back, but my arms stay forward. So I leave my arms out where they were originally. So what's happening is that I'm moving back and I'm just lifting them up and I'm extending my body out behind them. So you should be keeping this in line with your throat, because that's the target point. So the angle here, it's more like this. So you're keeping it on a narrow angle. You don't want it too flat because it'll make your maki way too wide. It should be a narrow position in here. And again, you're thinking about spiraling. So you should think about the kensen going spiral and in towards the heart. So it's making like this snail shell spiral. From here, snail shell spiral. But your right hand's just coming down to your hips. So you're still doing that curvature, that final tail curl as you come into the hip. So block and through. Sorry, step back to receive, step forward to maki. So step back to receive, forward to maki. Step back to receive, forward to maki. Receive, maki. C, C. So just so you can tell, this is kind of the position my arms are in. So my backhand's almost straight out from my shoulder, or just a little bit forward, but you are keeping them quite straight when you receive, but not locked as such, but strong, extended, because the more you extend them, the further you are away from having them hit you here. I don't want to receive here when my arms are weak and where they're still quite close into my throat. Get as far away from that strike as possible and then come in for it. But yeah, that spiral, that snail shell, that's probably the harder bit to achieve, especially without a partner. Spiral. But when you get it, you get this beautiful harai off it. You'll toss them pretty much, so kind of down there or back here. So you'll throw them really off balance if you do it strongly. So it's all about that rotation back into the heart. That's where you're trying to get back into. Any questions about Maki?
No, not so far.
Just wait till we're back in the studio and we can practice it on real people.
Yeah.
I quite like it. All right, so we've only got about 15 minutes left. So let's have a look at Ju Tai Ju, number 7.
Hi.
So this is the response to Shita no Harai. So
Oh,
shi. So I'll be uchi, you'll be shikata. Sorry, I think my internet's playing up a little bit, so I hope I'm not going to get too laggy. Okay, so I will act as uchi for the first two. So you're starting 9 steps back. So for this one, I'm going to raise up and you're going to drop down towards my knee. Ich, knee, san. I strike in. You deflect, I pull back. Good. This one's very much about timing. So we'll just talk the second one through a little bit as we do it. Bring that up. So I raise up, we drop down together. 3 steps in, ich, ni, san. As I feint in, you're going to deflect up to create a shita opening. So it's not a hard harai, it's just a deflect up to your left to open it up. I'm going to pull back. As I come in for the strike, straighten your elbow, turn your hummy. A little bit, yeah. Good. Shita no harai. Go down and withdraw. This one's timing is hard, and especially the shoots from upright, getting the distances. But it's one you kind of do have to do in person to really get a feel for. We're going to swap around. So you'll be uchi, I'll be shikata, so I will be initiating the attack. So I'll come down to Gedo. We're just going to kind of particularly acknowledgement for Judo as we come in. Ich, ni, san. You're going to feint towards my nodo. I'll deflect up. Bring it back to center. Get down. And enjoy. Once more. Ni, san. Good. Any questions about number 7? No? Okay. So we've got 10 minutes left. So the last few weeks we've been working on Jutai Tan Kata 133. I think we've kind of worked that one to death a little bit. So hopefully it's kind of in the memory for the next time we do it. We're going to look through 4 through 6. So we might only get through 1 or 2 of them, but that's okay. I am going to give you the Tankendo side because it's more fun and you actually get to win. The Mokuju side is very, very boring for these ones, as it is for the Tankendo in the first 3. So grab your kodachi and we're going to work through number 4 to begin with.
Okay.
So the best description of this one is that you are going to think about pressing down and to the right. The movements from there should make a certain amount of sense. So if you imagine you've come up and walked in, we've met, you come in and you step in and you push the mokuju down to your right, so downwards to your right. What you're going to do from there is now you've created this opening, you're going to come in if you need to a little bit further, keeping the Tankendo on here, and you're going to grab between my 2 hands, break my balance, and stab me. So it's just a straight stab to your. Then you retreat, so I tend to keep my kodachi on the mokuju as I retreat, so it can't come up at me. You come back to center, and then you withdraw. So you're aiming to grab pretty much in the middle here, so here, and pull it down. There's not much I can do at that point because I can't take the bayonet off while I'm in that position. I can't stab you. The key point is to get in as close really fast. So if you've got big enough steps, you will be able to do your hiraki-ashi from the point at which you've suppressed down. So when you do that suppression down, you do want to step in quite deep and really control it. Because the further out you are in here, the easier it is to reach in between here. If you're small like me, you may actually have to grab your kodachi. So if I've gone down and to the right, you might need to keep moving in for another step. So down, little step in before you come in to grab. So from what I understand with the sensors, the last seminar we were at, that's okay, whatever it takes to get you in there. So if you have to do tiny little steps to make distance, do that. But it should be clean, it should be strong. Again, with all of these, because it's irimi seitai, you don't want to be doing your hiraki-ashi to grab and to take your left hand out from your hip until you're sure the weapon is secured. So you have to have a strong suppression down and to your right. Okay, let's give this one a shot. So I'll be down in Gedan, you'll be in 3 steps in. Ichi, ni, san. I brought my mokuju up to meet you. You're going to step in, push it down and to your right. So it should be down here. Grab, center, break my balance, stab me. Withdraw, so keep your kodachi over my mokuju, so you can literally be pressing it, sliding it all the way down. You return to center, go down, and withdraw. And back to tune up. So for this one, the uchi has the easy roll. I literally just have to walk in, I don't even tense up. Do that one again. So go down to Gedan, go in irimi. Ichi, ni, san, push it down. Down here. Step in, grab that. Cover the mokuju as you retreat. Gedan. Withdraw. And back up. One more time. Go down and irimi. Ichi, ni, san, suppress it. Good. Some nice hip action I'm seeing there. Good. I'm not going to take you through the uchi roll for that one because we've only got 5 minutes left and literally I don't do anything. So we'll look at number 5 for your side. So this one, you are still going to be suppressing in, but this time it's suppressing it to the right. So it's just, instead of down and right, it's just to the right. I'm going to step back. I'm going to go for the door, your right to your left, so across your body, at which point it makes sense for you to step in, grab my elbow, and then step the door. So all of these ones for you are irimi seitai. 4, 5, and 6 are all irimi seitai. So I've come from distance, get on an irimi, we come in 3 steps, ichi, ni, san. Step and push it to the right, just to the right. So that way, I withdraw. Right to the left, step in, carefully. So again, cover the mokuju as you withdraw. Get down, step back. Shoot on. One more time. Ichi, ni, san. Very nice. Good. Then we'll do. Does anyone have any questions about number 5 as the shikata? No?
It makes sense, I think.
Yeah. It helps when you've got the visual, you can see where the openings are. So we've only got a couple of minutes left. We can either have a look at doing number 3 if you want, or we'll just go over 1 and 2 again. What would you prefer?
Whatever you want.
You guys are always making me decide. How rude. All right.
You are the boss.
All right, number 3. It's not particularly difficult. And again, this makes sense. It's the irimi seitai. And this one, when you suppress down. So you push my mokuju down. I come back. I go for nodo. What irimi seitai are you going to do at that point?
Push upwards, yeah.
Yeah. Push it up. Grab, push me back, stab. So yeah, this is literally the Tai Tan version of 6, 7, and 8 Tan Kata. So again, we'll start back here. Get on an irimi. 3 steps in. Ichi, ni, san. Step in and push it down. So lock it down. I come out. I go for your moto. You push it up. Withdraw. Good. Again, as you withdraw, make sure you've got the mokuju or your hidachi blocking the mokuju coming down at you. And retreat. I think we've lost Caitlin's connection. Either that or mine's just bad at picking us up. We'll do that again. Get on irimi. Ichi, ni, san. Press down. Okay, get on. And withdraw. Okay, just before we finish up, we're going to run through 1, 2, and 3 once each. No stopping. I'm not going to prompt you. I'm just going to show you the openings or not. So if you muck it up, that's okay. That's what practice is for. So, ippome. Good. Nice, Roger. Perfect. Nanahonme. Very nice. Nanahonme. Sorry, number 6, not number 3. Good. Those look really nice, Roger. So sorry that. For anyone watching the video, that was 4, 5, 6, not 1, 2, 3. I can't count. But those ones should hopefully all make sense in terms of a sequence, especially when you think of it in terms of the normal Tankendo irimi-seita techniques. So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's
Thank
nice
you very
to
much.
train with you. Good to see you or hear you again, Nico.
Yes, on Sunday.
Yes, definitely on Sunday. Again, I'll start with Tanken, just so that I do spend some time on Tanken. But we'll probably again focus on 4, 5, and 6 from Tai Tan, and number 8 from Ju and Tan Tan as the kata. But if there are any particular techniques you want to work on in terms of kihon, whether it's basic strikes or ouyo or anything like that, let me know and I'll add it to my list because it helps to have a list.
Okay.
But I hope you both have a great Tuesday. Yes, it is Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes. Tuesday morning.
And I'll see you online again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Have a good one.
Bye, Roger. Bye. Have a nice
Bye.
day.
There you
all.
go.
Bye.